I was hoping it would work.
Can you hear me, Laura? Oh, I gotta unmute this one. Hold on. Alright, can you hear me now? Okay. I just can't unmute myself.
Yeah, I found an old link because I thought there was a link in the email that you sent, but there wasn't.
Yeah, I had to send out another link because I deleted a bunch of the old events on the calendar. There was about 600 of them, roughly, from like when Rhonda Ewer was here and just a bunch of old ones. And I'm like, I want there to just be one event for every month, not 5 or 6. So now there's only one and everybody's on it.
Because I got this link through an old email. Because this month's meeting reminder didn't have the link, it just was a reminder of the meeting.
Well, the email I sent out today, your email wouldn't work.
Oh, that's right. Our emails are messed up today. That's why I didn't get it today.
Yes. So that's why I texted Mark and I was like, I can't get a hold of her.
No, you couldn't because we've had issues with Microsoft did something. So some emails come through, some don't today.
I was like, what the heck? Like,
that's why. Well, I'm glad I went snooping through my old stuff.
I was like, did she change it and not tell me?
No. I see that. Well, I asked again today, and nope, can't come in person yet. So.
No, the only reason I'm here in person is because I have to be.
Yep. Are you feeling better?
For the most part. I haven't lost any weight in like 2 months, which is great. They want me to maintain, so doing my best.
That's good.
They keep threatening to put a feeding tube back in if I don't eat enough, so I'm gonna eat whether I want to or not.
Yeah.
That's all I really can do at this point is make sure I eat and drink water. So
that's true.
Today I think I brought enough meals for like 4 people, but I didn't know what I would want to eat, but I had to eat something.
Well, I, for the most part, stopped eating out altogether, too, so I bring in a lunch every day, and that gets to be stressful.
Yeah, I found out now that I can't have gluten, and I already was vegan, so now I literally have to cook it.
Yeah, makes it easier, doesn't it?
It does. And my husband's diabetic, so...
Yeah.
It's got all sorts of fun stuff.
I would not want to plan meetings in your household.
My kids have just learned, like, I'm gonna eat whatever she makes, and if not, then it's peanut butter jelly time for them. Which my toddler does not mind, because he would eat peanut butter and jelly for every meal if I let him.
That's mac and cheese in our house every day. What do you want to eat? Mac and cheese. Oh, great. Mac and cheese.
Yeah, that as well. That is one food that I do miss. Like, gluten-free noodles are just not the same.
Yeah.
I love cashew cheese, but the noodles, they just aren't the same.
Question. That would sound timely.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I also would agree with Laura about I do. This is a historic election. This year is going to be an even more historic election. Just being able to um, have folks who have accessibility commission, or if they wanted to come and present, to be able to on how they are able to keep they offer suggestions.
Okay, well, I think we're at time to start. So, high sign from my left. Not paying attention to me. Matt? We're- Okay. Hello. You are watching the September meeting of the Mayor's Commission for Citizens with Disabilities for the City of Omaha. I want to welcome our audience, guests, members, and our interpreter, one of my favorite redheads. Um, I got a smile. Okay. Um, we're working on our televised rebroadcasts, so hopefully that'll be coming out soon. But if you're watching this, it's much more likely that you've gone to the uh, website at www.cityofomaha.org, clicked on Mayor's Office, and then clicked on Disabilities Commission. Um, Very quickly, I want to talk a little bit about the purpose of the commission. Our goal, our objectives are to advise the mayor, the city council, the city department heads, and other City of Omaha personnel on issues of access, representation, employment, housing, and quality of life as it affects individuals with disabilities and their respective families. We look to serve as a resource for Omaha citizens with disabilities and their families to bring concerns forward and identify resolutions regarding issues that affect them. Um, we try and publicize to the citizens of Omaha the role of the commission and the resources available to assist them with housing, employment, represent, business, et cetera, to employers, housing representatives, business owners, and architects and others who have a role in bettering the life of Omaha citizens. We work to promote awareness to the general public on the capabilities, needs, and desires of citizens with disabilities. On occasion, we publicly recognize the efforts of employers, businesses, schools, organizations, or others who demonstrated outstanding support of programs and services for individuals with disabilities. We serve as an advocate for accessibility and work to support the implementation of plans and projects to improve services for people with disabilities. And we also review and implement plans and projects for advocating for services um, for individuals with disabilities. So that's a little bit about the commission. The commission is made up of individuals with disabilities as a requirement, but also family members, and some of our members are professionals in the disability field. Um, I do want to remind you to have a pen and paper handy to take notes, because at the end of the meeting, time permitting, we'll have some announcements from the membership. Um, but before we get started, I'd first like to have the members introduce themselves. We have some here present and then some who are here virtually. And I'll start. My name is Mark Smith. I'm a faculty member at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, Monroe Meyer Institute, which is the University Center for Disabilities for the state of Nebraska. I'm here representing individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The goal and role of the Monroe Meyer Institute is to build the capacity of systems of services and supports. I'm also the parent of and sibling to family members who have uh, intellectual and developmental disabilities. So a little bit about me. I'll have the folks who are here in person first.
My name is Megan Walls. With my company, Sociology, I do training and consulting in across disability groups and across through the lifespan for accessibility, inclusion, universal design. So I'm here really representing an interest of the greater disability community. I'm also the vice chair of the board.
Thank you, Megan.
Hi, I'm Rachel Johnson. I work for the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services, the Division of Developmental Disabilities, and I also live with a spinal cord injury, so I've worked with individuals with developmental and acquired disabilities, and I'm here to advocate for the needs of those populations.
Thanks, Rachel. I'll pick folks off of the TV. How about Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jen Pollock, and I facilitate elementary special education services for Millard Public Schools, and I represent students with disabilities.
Thanks, Jen. And Stephanie?
Hi, I'm Stephanie Skapdahl. I work with Outlook Nebraska. We provide employment opportunities and enrichment opportunities to those that are blind and visually impaired. And I'm here representing that population.
Thanks, Steph. And Laura?
Laura Young with the League of Human Dignity, and we're here to support anybody with a disability in being able to stay independent in their own homes and in their lives.
Thanks, Laura. And we have a few guests. Melanie, do you want to introduce yourself online?
Hi, I'm Melanie. I'm Melanie Davis. I'm a USA trainee under Mark at Monroe Meyer.
And M?
Hi, I'm Emily Koslow, and I am also a USA trainee with Mark at MMI, and I'm also a sibling to a brother with special needs.
I bring my crew with me. Actually, I'm very fortunate to have such accomplished students. I do want to comment that we did not have a quorum for this meeting, so there were no formal votes taken as regards agenda or minutes from prior meetings. We will take notes for this meeting, and then when opportunity presents, we'll go back and kind of take care of the paperwork. It's challenged that we're faced with COVID. One of our members, we were discussing in the pre-meeting, is recovering from COVID, so it's affected the commission directly. And we have a couple of other members who weren't able to make it today. So we announced the minutes were approved. I can't do that, so I'm not going to. Instead, I want to introduce our presenter, Linda Barrett, who's the marketing director at Metro Area Transit. We had a discussion at our last meeting regarding some issues, but also just some interest around Metro Area Transit's role in serving the community of individuals with disabilities in the city, and felt like that would be a good topic for this month. We're really appreciative that Matt was able to provide somebody on reasonably short notice. But public transportation is vital to so many of the citizens with disabilities in our community, it just felt like that was a natural fit for our discussions, and so I'll call on you. You're welcome. If you have PowerPoints, they can be.
No, I don't think we didn't bring anything this time. And,
Okay.
we're more than glad to come at any time. Little notice helps, okay, to prepare. And I've also brought Mr. Randy Sherping, who is our Moby manager. And well, you want to wait till I'm going to do a little bit. He's going to address the questions that you asked with a little more information.
Great.
But I just wanted to make sure that people
Welcome.
understand, in your audience and your clients and that type of thing, that can I move over a little bit? This screen's making me crazy.
Absolutely.
Okay. How Moby operates. I'm pleased to report that service has been provided for the disabled since the late 70s. Something happened, and I think it might have been a tornado, and it ripped up the city. And the city of Omaha actually received federal funding to operate a service for persons with disabilities. Well, when the funding ran out, they passed it along over to Metro Transit. We're now Metro. And so we've been operating it. And there were lots of things that were, when you tried to service then, things like lift-equipped vehicles barely existed. And if they did, they wouldn't work very well, and there was just horrible things that went on as far as trying to deal with things like wheelchairs, okay? Then ADA came along, and I'm not only the marketing director, but I'm our Title VI official, and I was one of the authors for the Federal Transit Administration of putting together ADA compliance for complimentary paratransit way back in the early 90s when it all happened, and actually traveled the country with a team that went in and helped people to set up systems. We had an operating system, may not have been perfect, and it was limited to life-sustaining activities, work, school, medical. Places like Portland, Oregon had nothing, and they struggled terribly because they had some lift-equipped vehicles, buses. So it was very interesting to see it all start. But Moby is called Complimentary Paratransit, and what it is it's a complement to the bus service. So if there isn't a bus route, Moby doesn't go there either. And to put it in, when you ride the bus, you go to a bus stop. And then when you get to your destination, it's another bus stop and you get off the bus. So in theory, Moby, with some plus and minuses, works exactly like that. Your destination, let's look at Dodge Street. Comes from the interstate to the river. Route 2 runs up and down there, and shortly, within about 6 weeks, we're going to be running the Orbit system instead along Dodge Street. For Moby to function, it again serves the Dodge Street corridor. But with Moby, it goes 3/4 of a mile north or south of Dodge. And it goes north or south 3/4 of a mile along any route and the terminus. Now, the west end terminus of Dodge Street, where our service ends at West Roads, is the interstate. So we're not going to take you or drop you off on the interstate. And on the east end, it's the river. But anywhere along that corridor. And so that goes along 24th Street, the 18 route. I mean, the other thing is Moby operates at the same days of the week, the same hours. So we have some routes, for example, Dodge Street service runs 7 days a week. We have other routes that only run Monday through Friday. Additionally, express service is exempt from the Moby type service, any complimentary paratransit service. The fares are double the base bus route service. Our base route service has been $1.25 since January 1, 2012. January 1, 2012. And Moby went to $2.50. You can have, if your needs require a public PCA, personal care attendant, they ride for free. And then a companion, just like Randy and I might be traveling on the bus together. We don't work for Metro and we're paying our fares. Moby provides the same thing, that you can take, a companion can travel with you, and they pay the same fare. And Randy, how many companions can they have? Up to 3. Okay. We've had some people try to have a 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10-year-old be their personal care attendant. That's getting a little shady along the lines there. I mean, if you need a personal care attendant, you need some assistance riding the vehicle. Our drivers will assist you in that, getting on and off. Okay. If a route is discontinued, a bus route, It's not going to happen, but let's just say there's no more service on Dodge Street. There wouldn't be any Moby service on Dodge Street. On the flip side of the coin, if we add service, then Moby service would be expanded. Currently, we serve Omaha, that's our dedicated taxing authority. We have contracts with the cities of Council Bluffs, Papillion, Roston, and La Vista. They individually provide their own Moby type service. For example, the city of Council Bluffs comes across the river a couple times a week and takes their Moby type clients over to the med center, to different, for example, for medical trips. We also will combine and meet up with them if needed be. Two other things. You can live outside the Moby area and be certified. It's all ADA certification. We make it's very specific. The proposed client fills out information, as does their physician and therapist, right? Can do that. All of that's done, okay? So we have, for example, people that live in Gretna and ways away. They travel in, for example, Valentino's at about 104th and Maple, 102nd and Maple, or Oakview. There are people that are brought there, and then the Moby van meets them and then takes them on to their destination within the Omaha city limits. Do you have any questions on that, or?
Just to kind of clarify, so if someone lives outside of the Moby range that's on a bus line, or they live somewhere where there isn't a bus route.
Correct.
They can access the services, but they have to get transportation to an access point.
Remember, if you lived there and you wanted to ride the bus, you would have to get to the bus stop.
So usually what resources do you see and the individuals
There's a lot of times there's family members.
Okay.
There's a lot in transit. One of the terms is called the kiss and ride, where one person rides the bus and the other goes on somewhere else. Well, it's the same thing with Moby. It's a kiss and ride. They get there. Always keep in mind that for the person, now there's other transportation services out there, okay? But remember, Moby matches up with the fixed route bus service. Like I said, if there's no fixed route bus service, there's no Moby. And that's not Metro making that decision, that's the Federal Transit Administration out of DOT. But we have people that do that. Also, if you're certified here, for example, and say you're going to go to San Francisco or Phoenix or somewhere else, you can email them, and they will, and we do the same thing here. You can visit somewhere, and your certification is good for 21 days. After that period, you have to then apply for it. And their certification isn't going to be different than ours because there's very specific rules on what makes you ADA certified.
So, Linda, we see are there plans at work right now? I know that Orbit has probably taken up a lot of your attention in the last 3 or 4 years. Would that be fair?
The first alternative analysis started in 2012 under the city administration, actually under the city. One other thing, we're not part of the city of Omaha. We're a political subdivision of the state of Nebraska.
Right.
And that's how we operate, okay, with a dedicated taxing authority. There was an alternative analysis, and actually myself and the new executive director, we wrote the grant that got approved to fund Orbit, okay? It's going to start sometime between now and early November. We've run into everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Right now, all of our digital signs are sitting in SeaTac off the west coast of Oregon, or is it Oregon or Washington? Okay, it's SeaTac. They can't get the ships in because of the fires, and they're so far behind. So we're told the delivery of the signs could be anywhere between now and 47 days. So it's just, we're doing everything we can to get the service on the street. I mean, the buses are here. They're just beautiful. We invite, we'd be glad to take, if you have a group that wants to try it out, we'll bring it over to you. But they're 60 feet. They're big. People will be boarding from the front. There's tie downs. It's everything the same that's on a regular bus will be happening for the passenger that's wheelchair bound.
And that's mainly targeting the Dodge Street corridor.
It's strictly along the Dodge Street corridor, from West Roads to downtown.
West Roads to downtown.
And you may have seen the stations that are they're almost all done along there. But like I said, you name it and something's happened. Every time we turn around, it's been something, we're so close.
But then it'll be worth it when it's up
Oh
and
yeah, it's
running.
wonderful. I don't know, have you seen the vehicles at all? We've been having drivers out on the street.
I can't say
They're
that I
a
have.
moving art piece. They're very, very, very nice looking. We're very, very proud. If there's no other questions, Randy's going to come up and introduce himself, and then he'll go through those questions that you had.
Mhm.
And he's a wonderful statistician.
Thank you, Linda.
So you're not the only one that's not prepared.
He forgot his questions. We got him right there. There you go.
Good afternoon. Hi, Stephanie. Haven't seen you for a while. As Linda said, I'm Randy Sherping. I'm the Moby manager. I have been since May 1st of last year when I came down from Seattle. My experience prior to this was 15 years in security and law enforcement and 20 years in transportation, freight transportation, that type of stuff. My last stint was managing e-commerce for a company in Seattle where we did approximately 90,000 shipments a year with 3 people. So I look at things from a logistical standpoint and how we can better serve our clients, a customer service standpoint. I've spent 10 years at Boeing and went through their continuous quality improvement and world-class competitiveness in all their programs. So I'm very, very keen on making sure that we supply the best service possible to our customers. I think Metro has done a pretty good job. There's always room for improvement, which we try to do every day. So let's get into your questions here. The first one about the long-term or the long waits for Metro or for Moby because of COVID. I'm not sure if that was a certain instance that we're addressing or if it's an overall. I pulled some statistics before we left. Currently, our average trip time is 23 minutes, which is down from 30 minutes last year at the same time frame. Our current wait time, our longest wait time for people that are not on a regularly scheduled trip with a will call is 32 minutes. That could be up to 2 hours, and I'll explain what a will call is. So if you have an appointment with your doctor and you go to the doctor's office and the doctor hasn't completed your appointment by the time we're scheduled to come back and pick you up, your trip goes into a will call service. So we're not going to forget you. We're not going to leave you there until you get to find your own way home. What we do is have you call in when you're ready, and then we'll send a van as soon as it's available over to pick you up. That could be up to 2 hours, but currently we're running an average of 32 minutes. We do everything we can to get people picked up as quickly as possible. As far as one of the questions that was on here about what are we doing to make the ride more secure and comfortable and provide better customer service, we have made large capital investments. You may have seen our first 4 vans of our 17 new vans that we've received are on the road. 5th one just got finished today. We've got 12 more that will be on the road. So by the time those are all outfitted and on the road, our fleet will be 3 years old or newer. So that takes us from a fleet that was 12 years old. And so we're a lot more comfortable. Don't have to worry so much about the air conditioning in the summertime. We have awesome mechanics. Matt and Tim do a great job for us on keeping our vans on the road. So that's one thing that's been done to make rides more comfortable for the clients. When you call up to make an appointment, if you're not familiar how the Moby system works, they call customer service, schedule a pickup appointment. So if Mr. Smith calls up and says, I want to be picked up at noon, our customer service people look at a schedule and say, oh, well, we don't have any slots available at noon. Would you be able to be picked up at 12:15 or 12:30? How about 11:45? That will work. So once we establish that pickup time, we have 15 minutes before that pickup time and 15 minutes after that pickup time to arrive. That's our 30-minute pickup window. All of our operators are trained to try to hit the pickup window at the front end of the window so that we don't run late for other customers. Once we arrive to pick up a client, that client has 11 minutes from the time the van arrives to get to the van and load it for us to head on down the road. ADA rules and regulations call for a 5-minute window, but Metro has allowed an 11-minute window because we don't want to have to leave clients behind because it causes all kinds of issues. Our operators are we operate a door-to-door, a curb-to-curb service, except for those that have special needs, people with limited sight or vision disabilities, or that might need extra assistance to get to and from their door. We will provide that to them, or if it's requested, we will provide that to them. But typically, we are a curb-to-curb service. As far as safety and security also, in July, we just completed, all operators, dispatchers, and myself completed a 6.5-hour training course on ADA rules and regulations and properly securing wheelchairs and strollers, or not strollers, scooters and walkers and vans to make sure that in the case of a sudden stop or the driver having to take evasive action, that those don't become flying projectiles. This is training that they'd received before for the most part, but there were a lot of nuances that were new that a lot of the drivers, even my most seasoned operator who's been with us for 38 years now, hadn't seen that before. So every operator got something fresh out of the training, and it's been very well received by everybody. Trying to see what else we got here.
That was it.
That was it. Does anybody else have any questions for me or any concerns? Any comments about the Moby service?
It's really awesome, first of all, to see, how you guys have gone above and beyond to provide what you do, beyond what's the bare minimum for what the ADA might allow. So that's really neat. Since I personally last used Moby, there was a rule where there were no will calls available to people who had missed a trip. I was wondering if the rules have changed in that regard. If someone missed the ride, say they missed that 11-minute window.
Well, will calls are specifically for medical appointments.
Okay.
So if you go, I'm sorry, I should have specified that. If you go to a store to go shopping and you miss your ride, then we will do what we can to try to get back there to get you. But since our schedules are done a day in advance, everything is locked in at 4:40 the night before. We have other clients that are waiting to be picked up. So we don't always have the availability to come back and pick you up. So if it's not a medical appointment, need to make sure that you're out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you mentioned that you guys got some new like ADA related training, for the buses and stuff. Is part of the driver training programs for both Moby and the city buses? Is there a sensitivities training that they go through? Is there a disability awareness where they get oriented to more than just wheelchair and tie downs, but other nuances, communication devices, canes, other mobility devices, other things that riders may use, because not every rider with a disability is going to necessarily use Moby. Some of them will use the city buses. So is there cross training between the programs, or?
Absolutely. All of our operators receive training on dealing with people who have limitations, whether they're physical, mental, and how to de-escalate situations, how to talk them through situations, and make sure that they understand the process and how things work. If the driver is unable to reach that client, then they would either call dispatch and get one of our supervisors or myself on the phone, and then we would either come out and talk with them or talk with them over the radio on the bus, which we have the option to do. One of the other things we've done on the new vans, I forgot to mention, as far as safety, is all of the lifts currently on our old fleet didn't have any straps on them. So they'd get on the lift, you secure your wheelchair with the brakes, the companion or the client would hold on to the railing on the lift. The lift would go up and they'd roll unencumbered into the van. We had a lot of injuries that way because the clients would roll into the van. The operator's not there to help them. They're still outside on the lift. They'd roll into a seat or a folded up seat and injure themselves, break their glasses, that type of stuff. So on all the new vans, they have safety belts on the inside of the lift so clients can't roll unencumbered into the vehicle. And there's also safety belts on the outside of the lift, so once the lift gets to the ground, the client can't come off the lift unless the operator undoes that restraint to keep them on the lift to pull them off. So there are new safety features on that as well. In addition, the new cameras that we have on the buses for client safety and for our operator safety, we have a 360 view camera that can rotate and zoom in that gives us additional visibility that we haven't had before.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Oh, service animals, yes. You can bring a service animal as long as it's certified. If you bring an animal that's not a service animal, it has to be in a crate.
And just one of the questions on here, I think we've mostly covered it, but just to officially clarify, as bus routes may grow because of the growth in different areas and developments going on, as bus routes grow and extend, the MOBI opportunities grow and extend, correct?
For standard routes. Express routes, no, but standard routes, yes.
Okay.
An example of a non-standard route, express route would be the weekday service rush hours that we have to Village Point and First National Bank Park. That service is not part of it.
Okay.
What I've given example.
In past forums I've been at, I've had the question about, well, I'm only 150 feet outside the 3/4 mile line. Can I get to Moby? And we'll let them know, like Linda said, if you can get inside the service area, we'll pick you up. But we don't want you out there standing in the cold or the heat. So we'd like to have somebody drop you off. I mean, that's up to you, however you want to do it. But if we expand our service for one corridor, we have to expand it for all corridors. So it might not seem like a lot to go from a 3/4 of a mile to a mile, but that extra 1/4 mile, you're looking at about another 4 or 5 vans to service that area, and about 7 operators. So it is quite cost restrictive to do that type of thing.
I guess one question that I had, the commission members are selected because of our connection to the disability community within Omaha and the surrounding areas to a degree. And so we talk to people a lot. And the question comes to mind as to how this group can support metro area transit in your your laudable goals and missions in terms of the orbit system and what that pretends. You're upgrading Moby and looking at future planning. Are there things that we can be thinking about or communicating to you that would help you in your mission?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
There's no way that we can be everywhere. There just isn't. I listened to you and I want to share with you just real quick. You're talking about fair housing. You're familiar with MAPA, the Metropolitan Area Planning Agency.
Mm-hmm.
They have an equity council on that, and they're taking a very specific interest in fair housing. So I'll send you the contact people. They have a whole group, 10, 12 people. That's all they deal with within their organizations. Fair housing.
I'm thinking of a possible presenter.
Equity Council?
Yeah, they did the fourth. I should know they're lease space in our building. They're just finishing up on this huge study that they did. It was like 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And one of the things was an equity council, and there were different people there on it. Now they've narrowed it. They're focused down. The primary interest right now, the very big need in the metropolitan area is fair housing.
Mm-hmm.
Huge need. So I'll send you the contact names.
That would be wonderful. Yeah, actually, the reason you heard us talking about housing is because in our capacities of the different members' capacities, we're just running across story after story of individuals unable to find accessible housing, affordable housing.
There are people that call us and ask us, do we know and stuff. And then there's a lot of things that we need to be involved in. Randy can tell you all the nightmares he has with canopies. They build these places and they don't look at. We can't get the vans in.
My vans were not made as convertibles, even though I have some drivers that try to make them so, but that's not the way that they were purchased.
At the hospital at the I got to think which one it was. We couldn't get close enough because for the VA we couldn't get under the canopy. We have to have tall vehicles.
How tall are your vehicles?
10.3. 10 feet 3 inches. So if we typically want to have a 10-foot 6-inch clearance, just because you never know what's going to happen with snow and ice and that type of stuff. But our bands are all 10-3 tall.
Still sounds like you're cutting it close to me, but
That's the bare minimum, so.
I understand.
And one of the other things that Randy brought up, and our drivers are extraordinarily dedicated, especially with Moby, to come extremely close to their passengers, this or that, or they move, or whatever happens and they're gone and stuff. But one of the toughest things that we have, especially with winter coming on, is early morning. We're taking people to places, they won't open the doors for them, and we can't wait with them. So we leave them in the freezing cold. The schools are terrible about that. The public schools are terrible.
But even dialysis clinics, that type, oh, we don't open till 5 or till 6 o'clock. Well, we're here at 5:30. We don't want to leave this guy outside. It's 20 below zero. What do we do? And so, just outreach to some of the medical facilities, letting them know that we are on a set schedule. We don't have the availability to turn around and come back quickly, or to sit and wait, because we have other clients. While we sit and wait for that one client who would sit outside for a half an hour to wait for the business to open, we have another client who's sitting outside in the cold waiting for us to pick them up.
So those are types of information that maybe we could work with you, we could share to other groups and people that are scheduling for people and stuff, to understand that we're doing everything. We can't get everybody everywhere at, say, 7:45 in the morning. We just can't do it. It's not feasible and stuff. So there's lots of little teeny things that people don't realize, that we could all help each other. There have been a few times when we were really tight on schedules and people had the opportunity for work. Well, we're more than willing to call someone and say, this is how it works. If they could start their shift 15 minutes earlier, we can get them there every day. It's very difficult.
One of the other things we've started doing last year, shortly after I started with input from my dispatchers, was we started putting set schedules. So on Mark rides Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he rides with Joe, for instance. So Joe picks him up and Rachel takes him home. So we put them that way. They develop a rapport. They get to know the schedule. The clients have reliable transportation. They know, because one of the things I first heard when I got here was never know when Moby's going to show up. We do have the SMS text feature that clients can request or apply for, and all they have to do is give us their phone number, and then we send them a text message saying your van will arrive in 3 minutes, your van will arrive in 10 minutes, so that they're ready when we get there. Because a lot of times we have some clients that when we get there to their home, you'll see them open up the window or the blinds to look out. They see us there, and 8 minutes later they'll come out of their house even though they've been ready. There's some people that like to play that game, which is fine, as long as it's within the 11 minutes, but that could put us behind a little bit as well. So just those subtle things. Overall, our clients are fantastic. I've had an opportunity to meet quite a few of them. When I first started last year, I rode the buses for about a month. I had plans to go back out again this March and ride with the other operators that I hadn't ridden with, because I don't see the operators every day because of their schedule. Some start at 4 o'clock in the morning, some get off at 11:45 at night, and I like my job, but that makes for a long day. So I did have plans to go out in March and start riding with the operators that I hadn't ridden with, but I guess somebody else had something else in mind for us. So hopefully here we'll be able to get back to that. Oh, also, there was a question on here about renewals. Thank you. Currently, everybody that had a application or a profile that was due to expire anytime from March to the end of September was extended to the end of September. We are currently up to date with everybody, sending out renewal notices. We just sent out 600 of them 2 weeks ago. That will get us through the end of the year. I've gotten involved in it now, so we're actually going to be sending out renewal notices 90 days ahead of the first of the month when their renewal or when their profile expires. So next week we'll be sending out everybody's that expires in January. They'll be getting the renewal application packet, so it has everything, and they have time to get in with their and see their doctor, get all their certifications, and get it back to us so that there's no lapse in their coverage. And that's something that we're just starting here next week, so that will help out with that.
I think some of those process changes are really they're great and really important, that especially that consistency piece, that consistent schedule for a lot of different user groups can make a really big difference, and then probably also reduce the amount of de-escalation situations that you guys have to deal with. So I think that's a great change.
And like Linda said, all of our operators are fantastic. It takes anybody can drive, but not anybody can drive a bus, and not every bus driver can be a Mobi operator. You have to have empathy for the people that you're hauling. You have to care about the clients that you're transporting, and all my operators do a fantastic job at that. I get complaints, but I also get kudos for my operators. Hey, I want to, let you know this person did a good job, that person did a good job. So that's one place that you could help us. If somebody has something positive to say, I would love to hear it, because I see the complaints all the time. Everybody's always happy to send in a complaint, but they're not always happy to send in a compliment. So I love seeing those. I have a newsletter that I put out every Friday, and I put kudos in there, who the client is that called in, what they said, and then I identify the operator in there just so that they know that we're paying attention to what they're doing out there.
To go back to a comment you just made, Randy, that you occasionally hear a complaint on, well, very rare occasion, I'm sure, but if someone does approach you with a concern, what's the process in terms of how that's addressed?
Well, the first thing they do would call our 1-800 number or customer service and register a complaint. That gets put into our computer system, which is called EcoLane. I go into EcoLane every morning and I look to see what concerns we have, whether there was a lost and found or an issue with the trip, if there's any complaints or there's any kudos for operators. I go and I look at that every day. They have the opportunity when they make that complaint to let us know if they would like a callback or not. If they want to just let us know something that happened so that we can address it, they can say, no, I don't want a call back. If they want a call back, then I will give them a call back once I've had the opportunity to research the situation. I was notified this morning, for instance, about a client that had an issue on Friday. I pulled the video from the van, watched the video, called the client's caregiver, and left a message for them, letting them know that I'd reviewed the video and I would like to talk with them about it. So I usually try to get back with them within 24 hours of notice, or that I receive notice of the issue.
Can I pose the same question to you, Linda? Because we also deal with folks, of course, that are using the regular buses and not just Mobi. Is it the same process, or?
The same process. If everybody would call the 0800 number, then I go in, because every once in a while, because I just, in the safety meeting we had this morning, I pointed out to our contractor for the customer service, please remind your staff to watch how they code the complaints. Because every once in a while I'll send one to Randy and they'll say, is this yours? I know it is, because we're talking about a van or whatever.
Right. Because it'll come in as either fixed, which is our big bus service, or Mobi, which comes to me. So it goes into two separate pools, so I don't have to sort through theirs and they don't have to sort through mine.
And we don't, course, ridership is way down. Everybody's poised or whatever. It'll be interesting to see what the new normal is as far as people's working conditions. Their travel patterns are changing already. We're seeing that. I mean, it's just a very different world out there for us, especially knowing. But yes, we do that. But I also want to assure you that we have the state-of-the-art video and audio surveillance on our vehicles. The newest vehicles, for example, the buses have 8 and 9 cameras on them. We can see everything. In fact, we get a lot of calls from the police. They come over and want subpoena video. We can attest to at least 2 robberies that we had nothing to do with it. The bus happened to be going down the street, and there was prosecution from what we caught on the cameras. So we'll pull those hard drives right away. In fact, if I get a call, if I see something in a bus literally out on the street right now, they can pull it. Say, for example, yesterday, you can see it while the bus is moving. It's interesting, and you probably would maybe surprised at this, or I just had sent one up to our claims department, and someone claimed it's very detailed. I mean, professionally written that the bus cut him off, and he ended up spilling paint all over the deck of his truck, and he wanted it replaced. Well, the video showed the complete opposite. So it's very interesting. Sometimes you wonder, why do people spend the time doing things like that? But it's exactly the same on the bus.
Can you share the 800 number?
It's 1-800. Oh, it's 402 341
I believe, yeah,
0800 341 402 341 0800.
The 241, or I'm sorry.
341
341.
0800.
Thank you.
And we also have a TDD line. That's 0807.
It's a what? I'm
The
sorry.
TBD that could,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I found out kind of midstream during our presentation that we're actually streaming live on the city's YouTube channel. So I thought it might be nice to
oh, yes.
have that number go out so that folks are aware, 402-341-0800, if there's a concern. And then that's for both
For both,
movie and
yeah.
Yes,
the regular bus routes.
And as far as ridership, Linda said ridership is down. We're running about 44% of what we were last September.
Well, it
So,
seems to be kind of how the world's going about,
yep.
about 44% capacity, it seems.
And we were inquiring, asking them people wear masks. We can't legally make them wear masks, or our drivers are. We have installed, do you have the COVID shields on the
Mm-hmm.
page? We have
Not on the side, but in the back.
in the back, okay.
Yeah.
We have what we call COVID shields, which will be there forever. These are tempered but made out of plexiglass. So on the buses, the drivers are glass in, like you said, pay their fares and everything. And movies on it a little bit differently.
And actually, the big bus, the large buses we've ordered, if you've seen the new Orbit bus, it actually has a built-in driver shield that closes. It has a window that opens and closes. We've ordered those for all of our buses, so we're going to be retrofitting all of our buses, and all new buses that will come in will have those driver protective shields on them that are mounted at the factory.
We've got temporary ones that we put in. If anybody had stock of plexiglass.
I just sold mine.
I think you're describing the new normal, or at least part of it.
Right.
Other questions for Randy or Linda?
This is Stephanie. Hi, Randy.
Hey, Steph.
It
So
seems like you
I
two know
was
each other
wondering if
somehow.
there was any conversations going on, and I know I've talked to you about this before, but making the Mobi application more accessible, as in like a fillable form, something like that, in order for those individuals that do have a visual impairment to be able to complete it on their own.
There is. We're actually we're in the process of finalizing not only the revised application, but the online application, making it PDF fillable. But that was also right about the time that COVID hit. It has to go down to Kansas City, I believe it is, isn't it, to be approved?
Yes.
District.
Federal Transportation Region 7.
Yeah, so it has to go down to Region 7 to be approved once we get it done. But things kind of took a spin for the worse, so it's still in play. I'm not sure when it will be, probably sometime first or second quarter of next year, I would imagine.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like related or?
No, worked with her out at, or taking some calls from her out at Outlook,
Yeah.
and she's been at a couple
Randy's
forums.
had to deal with me a lot, so he's awesome though. He puts up with me, so I'm very grateful.
we love Stephanie, so.
Stephanie's great.
It's all good. Any other questions? Any reactions, or have we left anything off? If we did want to get back in contact with you, would we just use the contact information, or no? Randy's going to make sure.
Here's my Davis card, direct phone lines.
Awesome. And I'll provide this information to those of you who are who are with us virtually, or.
When I email you that map information, I'll copy Randy on it so that you have it.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Well, listen. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to thank you both for coming down and sharing all of the information and the new changes and kind of the processes and educating us, and then hopefully everyone watching this. It's really, as you know, transportation is key to so many different areas of life. So for people to know how to access it and what the processes are is really important. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate it. And we're available anytime. If you have any questions, you just want to shoot us, we'll get back to you.
Not shoot us an email.
We inform you. We'll inform you. We won't shoot you. Actually, that was Megan stole my thunder, but go ahead, Linda.
I have one more thing. I don't know how many of your clients know, but we have partnerships, for example, with Nebraska Medicine, UNMC. All staff, faculty, and students ride for free. Mobi's included. The same with UNO. Same with MCC, Clarkson College.
Mm-hmm. I just have to remember my, I
People don't realize that.
just have to remember my ID, or else they.
I can't do everything.
No, again, not to just repeat Megan, but thank you very much for taking the time to come down. I think this is really helpful. This will be recorded, as well as the fact that it's being broadcast today. And the hope we have is that we can support your efforts in terms of providing, again, what is a critical service to the folks that we're here to represent. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
That's awesome. And we will endeavor to ensure that this information is made available to our viewers and audience. We're at a point now where we have a few minutes. We can go around and see if folks want to have any announcements. I'll start virtually this time. Jennifer?
No major announcements right now. We're plugging away and almost done with our first quarter of school, so we're doing well.
Unbelievable. And you look happy and are smiling, and it's kind of amazing.
You know, you got to come in with a positive attitude.
Absolutely. Laura?
Nothing new here. We still have COVID supplies. If you qualify for our services, we're happy to share those at no cost.
Thank you, Laura.
Give us a call.
I've got your number. Stephanie?
Nothing new to report over here.
Okay, thank you. Meg?
Yeah, so I learned that all things, tracking in the right direction. On Saturday, November 21st, Emmanuel and Gina Munson from Emmanuel, in partnership with Holland Ice at Baxter Arena, are putting on a sled hockey learn to skate clinic. So for youth and adults, they're going to have 2 different sessions, and their hope is to get people introduced to the sleds and learn how to get those beginning stages of ice sled hockey. So that'll be Saturday, November 21st. I think registration is open. She did not provide me the website this morning, so I can get that and help me put it in the notes. But you could also reach out to Gina at Emmanuel for more information.
Okay, Rachel?
I don't have any announcements. Thank you.
I'm of course, in my tremendous preparation for this meeting. It's looking like as we deal with the new normal, that it's going to be tough to do things like Halloween. But I can tell you that on October 25th from 2 to 4, the Monroe Meyer Institute at our new building, which is not open yet, but it's getting there, is going to have a drive-through trunk or treat, where folks don't have to get out of their cars, and we'll have the cars are decorated, so it's kind of fun, and we'll have folks there that are available to kind of pass out the candy without having to get in contact. That's at 6902 Pine Street. Again, that's on October 25th. It's from 2 to 4. We really try and do this for the children that we serve, children with disabilities and their families. But I think if you just drove through, you'd probably wind up with some candy, because there's usually about a half a ton left over afterwards, and it's a nice opportunity to give back to the folks that we represent and serve. So, anything else for the good of the cause? I can't get Kat to look up from her computer, so I don't know what she's thinking. But anyway, thank you. I can tell you that we're looking at trying to identify, we have a couple speakers in mind to talk about accessible housing for our October meeting, which will be the last Monday in October. The broadcast will start at 3:30. And thank you for watching today, if you did, or in the future if you pull it off of the website. Given we're in an informal circumstance, I will call us adjourned for the day. Thank you.